Bag. I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What's growing on? What's growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris. We have former Brown EMC. And here at B1AG, we focus on back agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics, all for the Black family and for the Black community. Welcome Black to the garden. Today, we're going to touch on the Travis Scott Astroworld Festival situation. It was that situation was very disheartening because going into the festival, actually that Friday morning, we did a show about Travis Scott dedicating a community garden at an elementary school in his old neighborhood in Houston, to his grandmother. And we seen that as a very positive piece and a great way, we thought, to kick off what would be, a great concert. But the concert did end up in tragedy, resulting in the deaths of 8 people, ages range from 14 to 27. Now, this tragedy, it really rocked the Houston community to the core, and it's still, the devastation that was left behind is still being felt. They're still trying to sort through what went wrong, and all over the news cycles, Travis Scott's head is on the platter right now. But, thank goodness for, what we like to call our OGs, our elders. They usually have the knowledge and experience to help us deal with these situations. And in today's story, we're going to focus on the OG, the legendary Houston rapper, Bun B. Now, Bun B is also a social activist, political activist there in the Houston area as well. So what he has come up with, he's organized an event focusing on food trucks to bring this community of Houston back together to where they can heal. And the proceeds from this food truck benefit will be, the monies collected will be given to the families to help with the burial expenses. So what we're going to talk about today is how Bun B organizes a food truck fundraiser for Astroworld Festival victims, and the important role that food plays in bringing people together. Food is it's very special in the fact that it is a vital necessity for living, for humans and just living organisms. So it's like it serves a distinct physiological purpose. But socially, food also serves a purpose. And today we're going to dive into that just to highlight that very distinct component of food outside of just nourishing us. And shout out to Bun B for coming up with this fundraiser. And also, our heart goes out to the community in Houston and all the families, to the victims that, were lost during this concert. Farmer Brown, let's talk about it, bro.
First, I just like to say peace to the B1 family. Stargazing, portals. I think it was interesting at that concert, not to digress. And so, Master P, this is a guy that's, yeah, yes, sister. I look forward to talking to you here shortly. Uh, Master P's opening up a chain of grocery stores. He was one of the performers there. Drake was also a performer there. He's invested large in a vegan chicken company. And you got Travis Scott starting a garden. And so, as we speak today, it's like, I don't want the family to look at this as stargazing more so than looking at the positive portals, the positive opportunities. Specifically, we're talking about Bun B. His love for food trucks goes back to about 2012. And so there's different articles just talking about how he goes to a food truck at least 2 to 3 times a week to get his food, supporting local vendors. And so not only are we going to talk today about just the important culture that food plays, just with our ability to come together, but also some of the entrepreneurial opportunities when we think of localized food systems and the role specifically that food trucks play in getting food from farm to table.
Well, the name of the fundraiser that Bun B organized is titled. It's been dubbed "Breaking Bread." So he brought all of the food truck vendors that were actually supposed to be at the Astroworld performance, and the second day of the concert was canceled. So that food and those resources that were meant to be used, at the Astro World Festival are now being used for this event. They're taking this food that they have and using it to foster healing within that Houston community. Because of those that passed, it was across, diverse social, economic, racial lines. And Houston is a very diverse city. So what this allows the community of Houston to do with an with an event catered around food and food trucks, it allows them to come together, break bread, eat together, mourn together, help heal together. And this is one of the intrinsic uh, benefits of food. It's just like when you come together as a family and eat at a dinner table together. You know, one of the things that happens when you're at the dinner table with your family is y'all talk. You get to talk and get insight from each other. How was your day? What went on during your day? Even with the children, they learn how to communicate better. They learn more words. They learn how to express themselves, often just through eating food, with the family together at the table. So it's a very, again, shout out to Bun B for this event because it is a great beginning, for that community of Houston to begin to heal. And social science, this has been studied in social science as far as the role that food plays in society. And it's been proven and that food and eating together in a common time at a common table, that builds trust. It builds relationships, and it has shown that second to none, it helps build communities. And there are a lot of examples of community development and community building that have been centered around food and food production in particular. Food production, urban farming is a major catalyst of a lot of community development going on now in places like Chicago and Detroit, and a lot of these major cities, that have been decimated even before the pandemic, just from lack of business opportunities or businesses leaving and going and moving to other states or away. And now they're taking those jobs with them. They've left a lot of communities in disarray. And urban farming has become in a lot of these communities that galvanizing peace in community development and bringing that community together. It's amazing what some good food can do.
Next to puppy dogs, babies, and kittens, do you want to guess what the third largest viewed subject is when we think about social media? It's food. And so just last year alone, especially since the pandemic, there were more than 400 million posts tagged with hashtag food. And so not only does food affect us physically, person to person, face to face, it affects dopamine. So it's scientifically proven dopamine is released when you see certain foods. It happens to be calorie rich foods, but our brains are wired to be happy, to get excited when we see food. And so once again, it makes all the sense in the world why food is the perfect condensation nuclei, so to speak, when you're wanting to bring people together. Here at B1AG, we like to talk about how these different dynamics affect, right? Never going away. That's one thing. Before there was economies of anything else, there were food economies. That was the one thing that brought people together. That's the one thing that, whatever side of any equation you're on, that you have in common. It's the great equalizer, food. Here at B1AG, we want to talk about now how do we, make this food equitable, this access to healthy food equitable. I think it's very interesting that Bun B, I imagine Houston has a lot of different outlets as far as things that could have been done to bring the community together. But I think it was ingenious to work with the food trucks because not only are you helping them bring people together, you're helping to stimulate local economies, which is something that food trucks are good for. When we think about the concept of farm to food truck concept, you also keep your inventory longer. So once again, if you're say if Bun B, I don't know if he's partnering with local producers in Houston, and so if I'm getting my produce from Houston or somewhere in Texas versus somewhere in California or on the East Coast in Florida, I'm going to keep my inventory longer. And also, it increases in value. You're able to market your products from your food truck as locally grown. There is a contingency of consumers that are very intentional with their dollars in supporting local. And so these food trucks are the perfect vector of dispersing this food. Some of these food trucks in your larger cities, you can earn up to about what 60,000, $20,000 to $60,000 monthly. This is in your larger cities. When you get down to your smaller cities, 5,000 to 10,000 a month, just from these food trucks. There are expenses. Obviously, you're going to have to get equipment. You don't want to cut corners with that. You're going to make sure you have good water. You're going to make sure that you have all the equipment necessary to bring electricity and all the power that you need. But food trucks, when we think about food security, outside of just a festival setting, but when we think about now, how do we feed this 16 million melanated people that we know are food insecure in the country? We know being able to get to a grocery store, mobility is one of the main things impeding people having access to healthy food. So once again, these food trucks not only have a commercial value in the community, but also a more deeper utility when it comes to really getting food to the people that need it the most. And I think this was a very respectable move by Bun B. I don't know if he was looking into the science of it, but I think this is definitely a case study for the rest of the melanated family to look at. Now, how can we bring people together in our communities?
And food is that great equalizer. Because again, as we like to stress on this channel, it's a simple fact. We all have to eat. We all have to eat. And with food, see, food is also a great uh, identifier of cultural heritage. And it also helps foster and identify national identity. Now, Houston has a very strong culture. They've been banking on this culture. Houston culture, no matter what part of the demographic you are, socially, racially, they're throwing up those horns. They're throwing up the hook 'em horns. They letting you know they're from Houston. From their vernacular, their slang, to their style. You know, when you see someone from Houston or meet someone from Houston, you know they're from Houston. Just like across certain places all across the country, you can tell somebody's from Houston, Texas. They will let you know, hey, I'm from Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? They're gonna let you know that. But being that food is such an identifier and it helps strengthen those bonds, between with the cultural heritage and the national identity. It also allows you to experience someone else's cultural heritage and national identity in a very non-threatening way, and that's through nourishing yourself, food. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like we all have to eat, and we all may have certain taste or certain diets or diet restrictions, but throughout all of that, you can still learn about someone else. You can learn about uh, another person, how they live, and where they're from, and glean things from their culture just from a plate of food. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And if you think about it, like within the black community, when they have the repast, again, there's always that meal. There's a meal at that repast where the people can sit down and again break bread together. So there's a lot of spiritual connotations that come along with this food truck fundraiser as well. Like I said, it allows the people that community to come together and heal. Because right now it's a lot of people are upset. It's very sad. The lives that were lost is still from the youngest being 14, the oldest 27. These are still very young people, that were there to have a good time, to enjoy themselves. And unfortunately, this event, it did not. It turned out to be a tragic event, and it's just I'm just glad that Houston has OG like Bun B to who can recognize that, and immediately in the midst of all of this was going on, and the anger and the sadness and the frustration and even all the finger pointing about whose fault it is, he's like, hold up, let's recognize what happened, let's pay homage to the people that passed, and let's begin to heal by breaking bread.
For the family thinking about possibly investing in a food truck. And so the most profitable food truck items, obviously tacos, chicken wings, burger, snack burgers, loaded fries, grilled cheese sandwich, falafels, and mac and cheese. So these are actually the most profitable food truck items. What do all of these items have in common? They have to be produced somewhere on a farm. So once again, when you're thinking about if you're coming from a financial or economic standpoint, this stimulates local economies, especially if you're able to get your products produced locally. It keeps storage longer. And so instead of having to ship it long distance, you got it 50 miles, 80 miles up the road. Outside of it, just bringing people together, this is an opportunity, family, not only for the tailgate parties, the festivals, but also creative ways of feeding those in the community. Once again, this is one of the reasons why we really stress the importance of learning how to grow your own food, because these skills they apply to these local food systems that we keep talking about. We understand on the national and international level, everything is going localized. Localized meaning, okay, your food security where you're at is going to be a lot more dependent on people, resources within your region. And so a big piece of this is not only how it's going to get distributed, but who's going to be producing it. Uh, those of us watching right now, if it's 10 of us watching, I believe in the law of thirds. So 3 out of 10 people watching, if applying this seed concept, they're going to figure out something that they can grow. And through growing, they're going to figure out a niche within this broader system of getting food from farm to table.
And it'd be a great thing, like when you have a business, especially in food, the more factors of production that you can control yourself, the better off you'll be. So if you have a food truck and you also have a garden or a farm that you have or have access to supply that food for that food truck, you're winning. You're winning just by virtue of having more pieces on the board. Just like if you're feeding, look at yourself, look at feeding your family as a business. So if you have a garden that can supplement your diet and that you can actually go in your backyard, like Sister Moffitt, Rhonda Moffitt, shout out to Sister Rhonda Moffitt in Lexington. She calls her backyard grocery store. So if you have a grocery store in your backyard, where you can just go out there in your backyard and go shopping, so to speak, to help feed your family, you're winning just by virtue of having more pieces on the board. You have more inputs into your own life at your disposal outside of money. Because money comes and goes, changes, gains value, loses value. So at the it may be at times it may seem far-fetched, but these dollars that we all covet, there may be a time where they're not worth anything. The value does go down. So there are things that never lose value in food, water, food and water, things that we need to sustain ourselves are these items. They're pillars to the building blocks of life, food and water. And again, they can be the galvanizing piece in community and family. Family being first and then community being extensions of that family. Bun B, rapper Bun B of the legendary group UGK. He did a great thing in organizing this fundraiser. This is Bun B. I've been listening to Bun B for a long time now. I've probably been listening to UGK since about 1993. About 93. And with me, my father being from Texas, and also having lived in Texas as a child. My father's from Waco, Texas, and I used to live in Austin, Texas. So it's right there in the same little area. His music has always spoken to me. With UGK, they've always made their music from a community first standpoint. Bun B also, outside of being a fan of the food trucks, he has started his own brand of burgers, Trill Burgers. So he also, food is something that he's really into. He's a producer of value-added products with this food. And I'm glad and I'm thankful that Bun B had the foresight to use, this food trucks to help this community heal, because this is what at the end of the day, we're wherever we are, but in Houston, this is what they're dealing with: memorial sites, grieving. And food is going to help to bring that community back together. Food is going to help some of these families that may have, unexpected tragedy, to help pay for the expenses that come along with this unexpected tragedy. And at the end of the day, hopefully, through this unexpected tragedy, Houston can rise up stronger and more and stand stronger together moving forward. So again, Bun B, the OG, salute to you, bro. Salute to all the participants in the food truck fundraiser. It's actually happening Sunday, November 14th, at a brewery. The name of the brewery that is happening is Eighth Wonder Brewery, and even a portion of the vendor and tap room sales will be donated to the victims' families of Astroworld. It's just a great event. A great event to help support those families, who lost their loved ones. So, Farmer Brown, you got any final words?
Outside of eating and consuming food together, there's nothing like producing the food together. That's why we have healthyblackfood.com. Is basically a starter kit for, I'm starting at step 0. I want to get to step 10 of producing my own food. And so that's why we promote healthyblackfood.com. It is a family activity. There's nothing like growing the food together and then consuming it together and then sharing. That's one of the first transactions before there was such thing as a fiat transaction. And we just definitely encourage the family not only to support your local producers, support the food trucks, support the restaurants that are actually shopping with these local producers. This is how you stimulate local economies. This is how you can support farmers. We want to make sure it's more of us providing the produce that are going to these trucks and restaurants. And that all starts with the seed.
And also make sure that you like, share this content, support the content by liking and sharing, but also subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast on YouTube. Help us to grow. We're trying to grow. We want to grow. We need our subscribers to grow. And we want to make sure that across our communities, we are more aware of the food system, food security, as well as the different intricacies of what's going on with the production of our food. It's changing. The powers that be are switching from, they're going from farmers to now, to scientists. Our food is once we depended on it to come from the ground and from the earth, from nature, and now they want it to come from a petri dish. And we need to be aware of that, because if not, our youth, they will be introduced to a world where they will know nothing of naturally produced food. And this is something that I think should be of concern, and it merits a great conversation, and it does require us to really pay attention to what's going on and share this information. Here at B1AG, again, we're pushing the Black AG-Orithm, this Black agriculture. We really want to see that great resurgence in agriculture with our people. We built this country on agriculture. We as a melanated community, we built this country on agriculture. And then we were kind of walked away from a $1 trillion industry. We forgot that feeding ourselves is the biggest business. This is the biggest business.
People of limited color. That's why we got to push the Black AG-Orithm. We need to get on the production end. You know, we've pretty much mastered the consumption end of agriculture. Now we need to remaster the production end.
That's our value, folks. We need to, don't forget that, it's more about consuming, but also producing. And here at B1AG, we're definitely going to keep pushing the Black AG-Orithm.
Pushing the Black AG-Orithm. Ancestors, they mastered the systems. We raising your bosses, no victims. Planting that knowledge curriculum. Blessing the roots with the nutrients. The darker the berry, black Nubian. Dropping release like I'm Julian. The streets with that food like Peruvian. Trapping the herbs and the fruits and the veggies. CSA boxes, my package is heavy. Ship across town in the bed of my Chevy. Printing them up, growing hard like that baby. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta scramble. Bet on black farmers and growers, no gamble. Reclaiming our pain cause the game is in shambles. Blessed with that melanin, carry the miracle. Mothers and fathers of civilization. Black to the garden with food cultivation. Building back better through black innovation. B1 community growing the nation. Genetically designed to be the dopest. Stoking that growth mindset. Codified, now we focus. Farming on track on track. Be the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 AG-Orithm. Now watch me get them, watch me get them. Pushing that B1 AG-Orithm. Be the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 AG-Orithm. Watch me get them, watch me get them. Pushing that B1 AG-Orithm.
Pushing that B1 AG-Orithm. If you have any questions, comments, just want to reach out to us, share some information, get some information, you can do that at B1AgHipHop@gmail.com. B1AgHipHop@gmail.com. Shout out to all the people that have been reaching out to us. We really appreciate it. We get out, we try to send out as much helpful information as we can to help you with all of your questions. And we do look at what, the information that you provide to us. We are thankful for that. And we do want to help disperse all this great information that we are getting from ground level, throughout our communities. And also, if you want to donate to the platform, you can do that at $ B1AgHipHop on the Cash App. Again, shout out to all the people that have donated to the platform. We appreciate it. And the support is needed because, again, we're trying to grow this conversation. We want to grow this channel, and we want to make sure that our community is food secure. Food security is the name of the game because we all have to eat. We all have to eat. And we all have, as much as we all have to eat, we all have the power to produce this food that we want to eat, that we have to eat. So let's not, we all have to eat. We all also can make sure that we can eat, our loved ones can eat. We can make sure that our communities eat, and we can do it all ourselves. We don't have to ask Elon Musk for $6 billion. We could actually feed our whole community and our most food insecure for less than that. And not just, as a one-shot payment, but, it's what they say, the old fable about teaching a man how to fish. We're teaching our people. We are out to teach our people how to grow. We can give them we can give them a meal, and that's great. But you teach them how to farm and how to grow, and they'll be able to feed themselves for a lifetime and generations to come. Also, make sure you check out our merchandise. I believe we got some great merchandise. You see the logo, and the colors, and you see the B1 algorithm video, and you see the smiles. All of our merchandise reflects this. It's really some great merchandise. So then check it out there. And I'm going to put that link. I'm going to put the link that you see at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the live chat as well. So you can just check it out. See what we got. See what we got. Like I say, my boy Farmer Brown, he likes to, he's a real big Birdman, Cash Money fan. So he likes to say, we want to stay fly in any weather. We definitely have some merchandise that will keep you fly in any weather, all the way down to the face mask and everything with the B1AG logo. We're gonna make sure that you stay fly and safe in any weather. As we're transitioning over to fall and the winter, uh, we got hoodies and we got anything that will keep you protected. Yeah, going hard for the 99 2000s, for the 2022 and the 2020 in the 2020s. We got clear vision. Farm Brown got the yellow frames. We got a bright vision. A bright vision. So at the end of the day, if you really, really want to know something, Farmer Brown, what do the people need to do, bro?
If you really want to know something, let us sit down at the table and break bread, family, and learn how to grow something.
I'd like to thank you again for tuning in to the B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown EMC. Thank you for coming to the garden. I hope you are going to this weekend operating in love, feeling great, pass that love on. Talk to a plant while you're at it. Take a walk in nature. Don't forget, we have a connection with Mother Nature, and let's foster that and make sure that we never lose that. So,
Cherry Wildflower, I gotta address it. Rahm Emanuel, he was the former mayor of Chicago, and he served with President Obama. He said, "Never let a crisis go to waste." Right now, unfortunately, we're in a community that's riddled with crises, whether we're talking about violence, whether we're talking about toxic forms of entertainment. And so, once again, we don't want to look at stars as role models. I think Charles Barkley said that a long time ago. I'm not a role model, but I think a lot of the moves that they're making right now, whether they're coming from a place of altruism, whether they're coming from a place of capitalism, I think it's something when we have this conversation about practical ways of reasserting ourselves within the food system, we're always told to follow the money. And there's this consistent trend of those with money, those with social influence, either getting into gardening, food production, or these value added products. And so, saying that to say, yeah, there's some things you can't make up for. There were talks about portals being open, but here at B1AG, we like to think about the positive portals that are being opened as well. We are in the age of transparency. What we see is what it is, and so what are we willing to do with the powers that we've been endowed with to counter it? And so you counter negative with positive.
and then positivity and then love. B1AG, B1AG family. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace.